The following is a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club.
A chess clinic is in session at the 2024 FIDE candidates in Toronto, Canada. Following another exciting day filled with ups and downs, round 6 did not disappoint. After coming up short in his last game, Vidit Gujrathi came out with a vengeance, grabbing his second win to get back to 50%. Pragg was not to be outdone by his fellow countrymen, also picking up his second win and leapfrogging him to jump into a tie for third. The leaders remain the same, but the standings below them have shuffled. Who can remain within striking distance? Day 7 of action-packed chess, coming up next.
We are in the beautiful venue of the FIDE Candidates Tournament and round 7 is underway. Will Fabiano Caruana manage to win today against Praggnanandhaa and catch up with leaders? We will find out. Let's go to the studio and see the action.
We're almost halfway to the finish and there is still no clear leader in the open section. Fighting chess in round 7 coming up next. Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Nazi Paikidze, and I'm here with Grandmasters Yasser Seirawan and Evgeny Miroshnichenko.
Nazi, Miro, nice to have you in studio. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our live coverage of the Candidates 2024. We are in round 7, and after today, we will be at the halfway point. It's crowded at the top in the open section, but we have a clear leader in the ladies and some distance, I would say, also between our ladies. But first, the open. Nasi, do the honors. Tell us our standings in the open section after 6 rounds.
Let's take a look. After 6 rounds, we have 2 co-leaders, Nepomniachtchi and Gukesh. And with 3.5 sharing 3rd place, Fabiano Caruana and Pragg. At 50%, Vidit and Hikaru Nakamura.
It sure feels like our challenger is going to come out of those 6 players. And in the ladies.
In the ladies, we have a clear leader, Zhongyi, with 4.5 points. Only half point behind, Aleksandra Goryachkina. In clear 3rd, Kateryna Lagno. And at 50%, Ding Liren.
And do the honors. Tell our viewers what kind of pairings we're going to have and what they can expect from round 7.
Very exciting games today. We have Hikaru Nakamura playing one of the leaders, Nepomniachtchi.
Nice.
Fabiano Caruana facing Pragg. Nijat Abasov playing Vidit, and Firouzja facing Gukesh.
Those first 2 games, boy, they sure are going to be crucial for our standings. And in the ladies.
In the ladies, we have Kateryna Lagno playing Salimova, and our key matchup, Goryachkina against Zhongyi.
Wow. Yeah, marquee for sure.
Anna Muzichuk's playing against Hampi Koneru, and Ding Liren against Vaishali.
And tell us about our schedule.
There's going to be a total of 14 rounds. Players are playing round 7 today. They will have a rest day tomorrow. And in case of a tie break, in case of a tie on the top, we'll have a special day for tie breaks.
Exciting, exciting. And Miro, tell us about our leaders and how they got here in the position they're in.
Well, right. It's about the time with 7th round being in play. Let's check the line scores for the leading group in the open section. And yeah, we start with Gukesh and Nepomniachtchi. Both scored their first win in the 2nd round, both undefeated. After 4 rounds, Jan was the sole lead and Gukesh caught up with him in round 5. And just a half point behind those 2, we have Fabiano Caruana. Fabi as well, undefeated, and again win in the 2nd round, but he failed to win any games since. So, well, Fabi needs to, to speed up a little if he's planning to take the lead. And shared with Fabi we witnessing what I would call a story of a comeback in the making. So Prague, after a loss, a disastrous loss in round 2, he bounced back right after in the 3rd round, and then he won his game yesterday to tie with Fabi and, you know, looking to take the lead in the tournament himself. And one last bit of information that I have. In the ladies section, perhaps the most important game of the first half. Well, according to the standings, Zhongyi been leading the tournament starting from round 1, right? So, well, she started as the leader, she continues as the leader, but today her main rival, her closest pursuer, Goryachkina, who's just a half point behind, faces her with the white pieces. So a lot of emphasis, of course, on this game. And let's hear from Anastasia from Toronto.
Hello, Yasser, Nazi, and Miro. What a great day we had yesterday. After these fantastic games, we had also amazing concert of Andrea Bocelli in Toronto. He invited the group of chess people, and of course, players were busy with preparation, but we had this great opportunity to watch the concert. He turned out to be a really great chess fan. He was discussing his game with Vishy Anand between his actually songs, and it was really amazing to see him on the backstage. It was a great day, and looking forward, of course, to the games today. And time to go back to the studio.
Thank you, Anastasia. I can tell you right now, I'm jealous. That
Me
looked
too.
like a lot of fun at the concert. But enough about that. Let's jump into the chess matches, because I tell you, as we were coming on, the game between Hikaru and Jan was a preparation of the highest caliber.
Not much to add to this. The only thing that I would mention, computer currently prefers Hikaru's position.
Okay.
And, material-wise, he's up an exchange in the pawn, so one would assume, white has to be winning. However, black pieces are quite active. White still has to develop his queen side.
Right.
And a couple of moves ago, despite the same material, despite Nepo having material deficit, computer was saying position was equal. So if you don't mind, let's go a little bit back.
Let's do it.
And say we won't start from move 1, but I can tell you that this, for instance, is a very, very popular position in the Petrov, which Jan, I'm sure, had a couple of times with black, possibly with white as well. So at some point it became very, very topical. Opening position in the Petrov, in the Russian defense, if you like. C5, bishop c7, and I'm checking along with you. There were games played like that, so not a novelty yet. G3, and then no one has played a5. A5, no one until Nepo played it in today's game. Right. So this was the real novelty, and knight b, d2. Still fine. Bishop to e6. So this way, the e4 knight, or rather e4 pawn, is indirectly protected because the bishop would attack the queen. And then Naka captured on b7.
I like capturing pawns, but this is a little bit greedy.
Right. It looks, looks very sharp, looks suspicious, I would say.
A little bit.
But additional piece of information that both of them, that point of the game, were playing quickly, practically not spending any time. So it clearly says that this was a preparation. Right, so we call it suspicious, but how to react with black, because black is about to lose the rook. Jan plays knight takes f2, double exclamation mark. Point being king f2, you lose your queen to the discovered attack. Right, so after knight f2, Naka goes bishop takes h7.
Wow.
Point being, if he wouldn't have taken the rook, black would have taken the bishop. So you're selling this bishop at least for an h7 pawn. King takes, queen takes a8, and we can go, check, king g2, bishop g4, queen b7, and I think that was, about there was the moment where Jan started to think.
Right.
So he knew about this sacrifice, but perhaps wasn't kind of 100% aware of what moves can be played and so on and so on. Up to the point, it was all nice. Rook e8, by the way, is a fantastic move. And, well, in the game, White replied with queen to b3.
Right.
And there is one fascinating variation that I can't stop myself from sharing with you. So knight to e5, point being, if you capture with the bishop, White is very happy to trade the queens. Black goes queen f5, wants to checkmate. Rook to f1, you would think. With the tempo, queen has to go, White's winning, but not really. Rook takes e5,
exchange, sacrifice.
rook takes, and rook takes.
Wow.
And it's amazing. So you sacrifice the queen for... Now it's only a couple of minor pieces, but
Right.
White's king is in a huge danger. And in fact, computer says that White only has an equality after the best move, knight e4, and the dangers can be illustrated by naive capture on c7, where Black goes rook f2, and a spectacular move, rook to f1. And then if the knight takes, it's a, pretty minimalistic checkmate with just a bishop and a knight.
Very beautiful.
Anyway, so we go back to reality. Naka, of course, didn't fall for that. So queen to b3, queen to d3, very logical, bringing the queen back to protect the king side. Right. Bishop up, pardon me. So trade happened on e1, queen e6. All that is approved by computer, and you would expect to be written in both players' files, as we say. And then, after queen d3, according to what we found out, king to g8 is computer approved, and bishop f5 is somewhat imprecise, the move that Nepo ended up playing. Bishop f5, queen f1, knight to d7, this knight goes to f3, and I'll just update you on the current position there. Knight e4, well, computer prefer White, but there is no clear-cut path to victory or even stabilizing. So it's just that, computer moves like bishop g4, queen e3. But now, to be honest, I don't quite like what computer recommends. Knight takes c5. You would think White gets the chance to trade the queens, and that's...
Thank you for that.
That's normally better for White, yeah.
Thank you for that, Mira. And again, we really need to emphasize why this game is so important to our standings. Once again, let's just have a look at our standings. Nasi.
Right, this game is absolutely crucial because currently Nepomniachtchi is the co-leader of the tournament. So if Hikaru takes down the leader, everything will be changed.
Hikaru, would jump into, with 4 points.
Would jump the leaders.
Yeah, exactly. He'd be feeling very happy about himself. Remember, Hikaru started with a minus score, and to bounce back, that's simply huge. And as we return to studio, we have a very, very special guest with us, Dana.
Hello.
Welcome. Hello.
Welcome. We're lucky to have you here.
I'm happy to be here with you.
Thank you for joining us, Dana. It's really, really nice. We had a beautiful dinner last night, and it's nice that FIDE has sent you here to join us.
Thank you so much. Tomorrow I'll be also heading to Toronto, which is a great pleasure for me because, I've been in charge of the candidates tournament 2 years ago in Madrid, and I know how exciting the tournament is. I mean, even from distance, you see the whole dynamics, the whole fighting spirit, the whole tension. But when you are there, you smell the fight.
Right.
It's a great
Tension
tournament.
in the
The tension is there. Starting from the very beginning till the very end, and you'll see a lot of more exciting games, I'm pretty sure. But even so far, I think it has been, real tournament for chess gourmets. The games are so exciting, so interesting, and even strange at some point. Yes.
Dramatic too. Yes, absolutely. Congratulations are in order. We are 100 years in the making of the FIDE. It was in 1924, the Olympics in Paris, that the FIDE was born. What is the FIDE doing to celebrate its birthday?
True, it is. FIDE is one of the oldest world sports federations, and one of the biggest as well. More than 200 member federations worldwide. So we've grown quite a lot since 1924 when it was 15 first coming together and signing the symbolic agreement. So this will actually be one of the nice things that we will be doing on 20th of July in Paris. We'll make a replica of the initial founding agreement. Yes, but besides that, we've got so many nice activities like chess torch ceremony worldwide. It started in India. It will travel around the world, stopping at least in one place in each continent and landing in Budapest at the next World Chess Olympiad in Hungary. So then we are going to make the World Guinness Records attempt on 20th of July. So encourage everyone, both professional chess players and also those amateurs and chess lovers, like the business persons, like the pilots, the teachers who silently and secretly play chess on their phones, to join that very day, because then you'll make your part to reach the record of the most games played within 24 hours time.
What's the record? What are we trying to break? What's the record we're trying to break?
We've been very modest in signing for 1 million, but I think that with over the board and online included, and both biggest chess platforms, chess.com and Lichess, have joined us in this endeavor, we'll break the roof. I hope so. And then we have several chess exhibitions, because our aim is actually to bring chess outside the chess borders, so that also communities would see how exciting chess would be. And one of such, yes, is the reason why I'm here in St. Louis.
Yes.
Tonight we will open a special exhibition, a Clash for the Crown, that is dedicated for the World Chess Champions and Championships. So, as I like to say, I think, the stories of people and is the best evidence of the era. Yes,
Right.
and I think this is such a nice combination of artifacts, photography, information, digital resources that people who would visit it will really enjoy the history of chess, and we'll learn a lot of new facts about our royal but still very democratic game.
Nice, nice. And I saw you there with Willie Ikliki behind the scenes of the exhibition, which is tonight, right? That
It
you're
is
going to
tonight.
be
Willie is
opening
our
up.
historian. I mean, he's the
Right.
one who creates this community of people who like history, and he's been helping the World Chess Hall of Fame with some artifacts for the exhibition and with some consultations. But yeah, I cannot, express how thankful we are to St. Louis Chess Club and Hall of Fame and Mr. Rex Singfield for all this support that we can celebrate together, and we can educate the local community, and hopefully also the global chess citizens will have another motivation and a reason to come to St. Louis.
Right. When I see you at the exhibit, just there for the moment, which exhibit did you identify with in the history? Because we have this long history of chess. Where you were sitting at a table there, it looked like the Fischer-Spassky table. What touched you at the exhibit? What was your favorite
Okay,
part
there are
of it?
many that I love, but one of my favorite exponents, that is the Amber chess set that was given to Mikhail Tal when he became the world chess champion. So I'm a little bit subjective here because because I come from Riga, yes, and he's
Latvia.
our magician from
Right.
Riga and my idol since the childhood. But it is interesting that I've heard about this magical chess set,
The Amber set.
from Alexander Bach. He was telling me the story about this chess set being presented to Tal, and then after a while, I don't know how, don't remember how, it happened to get to be presented to Magnus Carlsen. And I was always willing to see it, and voila, I come to St. Louis and I see it right here, exposed in the very heart of the exposition.
Donna, thank you so much for being on our show and enjoy.
One more question, Donna. I'm sure you're following the tournament. Do you have any favorites? Or are you rooting for anyone in particular?
I'm not rooting for one particular player because I actually like this combination of very experienced players like dinosaurs like Jan himself. I mean, he's been winning 2 already, yes, right. And Caruana, I think it's the 4th one, yes, with,
5th,
or even 5th, yes. So you see such experienced players, and then Abasov for the first time, yeah. It's but I think it's a good combination that you have, this mix of players, some fresh comers also in. I enjoy the process more than the result, actually, in this case.
Right. Well, again, the process has brought us some really, really fantastic tournaments. So.
Indeed.
And at the end of the day, I think that the most motivated ones and also physically fit ones will win, because I do believe that chess is a sport. You need to be physically fit to win such kind of a tournaments and to deserve to become the world chess champion.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
And Miro, we're just going to have predictions. Here it is. How has the tournament changed now that we've had 6 rounds in our books?
So for some players, it hasn't changed at all. For Fabiano Caruana, we expected 8.5 points, and he's
right there.
Right there.
He's on schedule.
He's on schedule. Nepomniachtchi, we expected 7.5. Looks like he's doing better than expected.
Right.
So is Gukesh. And I think that's about it. For the rest of the players, Hikaru is doing slightly worse than we predicted.
Right.
Same goes for Prague and, of course, Firouzja.
Oh, big time for Firouzja. Sorry, Mira. I just actually did want to turn to you very, very quickly because I was so curious what was going to happen in this game. Do we have any moves after Hikaru?
Right, we have. Not many, but they change a lot. Yeah, so they change a lot.
Okay.
Right, so we had this, I think. Right,
yes.
Queen e2, knight to e4, and I said something about white having a path to keeping the advantage after knight h4. Hikaru's last move, knight h3. Hikaru's last move, a4.
I see a big fat
It is a little bit of question mark here, and the move is understandable because a4 aims at rook to a3 and swing the rook over the 3rd rank, maybe on b3 and just go attacking, or, which is far more likely, to be honest, to bring to e3 and defend bring more pieces in. But it allows for a very nice tactic, which is bishop takes g3.
What's happening yet.
And what's happening here? I mean, first of all, the only move for white is to capture on g3, because knight f4 is a huge threat.
I will believe.
So you capture on g3. Knight f4, I said, was a huge threat. It is a huge threat.
Still.
Black plays knight f4 nonetheless. And after this capture and queen g6, it turns out that's why you had to sacrifice the bishop. There is no pawn on h2. g3 square is not guarded. The best you have is king f1, where black wins the queen. But in the process, black sacrificed that many pieces that the resulting position is still equal. And it's actually black who has to be somewhat careful. So the most precise move would be go bishop g4, and
queen
then
d3,
you trade.
Queen c2.
Like white has to be careful, of course. So rook a3 fighting with queen d3 and being ready to play rook c3 in case of queen was to go here.
Right.
So it takes, and it's either perpetual immediately, or you can go queen g1, rook c3, but then computer insists on the perpetual, because queen d4, you are not really playing for the win against the 3 pieces. If white somehow manages to coordinate, you'd be in danger. So black pretty much has to take the perpetual.
So a4, you might say that a4 allows black his hidden threat of bishop takes g3, hg3, knight f4 check.
But I think it's unlikely we're going to see that on the board.
Why?
Because at the end of that line that Miro just showed us, I understand engine says it's equal, but for humans, 3 pieces versus the queen.
It's not 3 pieces. It's actually a rook and 2 minor pieces.
Right,
your first instinct...
white should be winning.
Yeah, your first instinct is this must be good for white. But in the fight of the queen, that imbalance, that material imbalance of 3 pieces or a rook and 2 minors versus the queen, it really is about the king's position. I would find anything that's a capture and a check, all of those forcing moves are the ones I analyze first. And once I see that after takes, check, I'm going to win the queen by force, I investigate. King f1, knight g3 check, king here, knight takes. And because these pieces are still, not developed,
right? But
I mean,
it's also temporary. I think bishop g4 is the absolute key move. Without that idea of trading on e2 and then black always having the perpetual check if they want to.
Right, in
Without
the pocket.
that, white should be much better.
Without it, yeah, but it being presented, this looks really good. Tell me about the times of the players, because this is where you start to really calculate deeply. By the way...
So there was a moment where Hikaru had 1 hour extra on Nepo. He had hour and 40 minutes against 40 minutes. But right now it looks like Hikaru caught up a little bit. He has 50 minutes against 30 minutes for Nepo.
Okay, also, Nasi, you were saying it's unlikely bishop takes g3. If you don't play bishop g3, and this is the problem, I don't like any of these knight takes c5 bailouts. I feel like as black, you need to do something like very, very concretely. You have to make threats. What else are you going to do? If
Right,
play?
oh, yes.
Yeah.
You have to make threats. I just discovered another draw. I'm
Please.
sorry. A game of chess is a draw.
Maybe
It's
chess draw.
very, very simple, as we joke, usually seeing like crazy computer variation. It was so
triple
obvious.
zeros,
It was so obvious. Yeah, so you have to go queen g6. Which does
Threatening knight f4.
does seem like a very good move. You're threatening knight f4 and you're targeting the g3 pawn. But how about knight takes?
Okay.
Right? And then we sacrifice more material.
Of course.
Can we take on g3 or is that losing?
Yeah, I don't think we can. It's a checkmate in 13 according to
Interesting.
the
I was
machine.
looking at queen g3 and instead of bishop h3.
But bishop h3 is a very clever move because now you cannot go to h1 because knight g3. So takes the knight with a check and then we have to go under the queen check.
Right.
So that's already out of the way. We can take the bishop. The best attempt, once again, one of the attempts that do not lose would be knight f3, bishop f4, discovered check. Now everything but king h1 loses for white. We capture on c1, and then it's, confusing. It's a draw in every line. Like, for instance, knight h4 should be answered with knight g3 check. So obvious. So obvious, Pawn takes, and then not that you would think another check, but just calmly taking g3, and you would think black's running out of pieces, but strangely, it's not much you can do. Fun line would be this: check on h3, king to g1, bishop e3 doesn't work.
Illegal.
E3 square is covered, but you just take back, and you have enough compensation because rook c1 runs into queen g5, and you just play this one.
Wow. Well,
So,
I can see this.
crazy lines.
This game is going to dominate our show today. This is a very, very exciting game. I want to just get caught up on our tournament leaders. Let's jump to the game of Fabiano for a second. He's playing against Prague. Somebody, as we noticed at the top of the show, is coming back into the tournament.
We had the French opening, French defense, something I didn't expect to see in the candidates. It's a bit of a risky opening. Against Fabiano, especially.
Well, I mean, the French lovers, such as myself, would be shocked by that statement. French defense. Every candidate deserves a French defense.
At least one game.
This particular position. We come into studio, the game, and I thought that Fabi had misplayed the opening as white. I thought that Prague was the one for choice because any French defense player will tell you that the only problem with the French defense is your light squared bishop. If it's gone, you don't have a problem. Prague doesn't have a problem in this position, and it was Prague.
He has this monster bishop on h6.
True.
Controlling
Truly.
c1, which also means black is completely controlling the c file at the moment.
Exactly, and include the fact that the pawn on d4 is a little vulnerable. Now, okay, a5 to me is a very, very ambitious move. I understand it, but I also understand the pleasure of seizing the only open file. Rook c8, rook c3, and rook c7, just clamping down on the situation. Let the knight find a square.
So white kind of has to have a fortress, stand passively and don't create any weaknesses.
Well, there you go. But stand passively, very, very hard. a5 was played, and now Fabi actually has something concrete that he can do. He's the one who sees the open b file. I don't like Prag's, let's say, last 4 moves or so. How's the situation?
Well, equal and slightly more equal for black. According to the machine, it's -0(1), -0(2) in various lines.
Okay.
But I want you to pay attention to one moment, which feels like it was an accidental tactic, and Fabi had to avoid it.
Okay.
But in this position where Pragg played rook a8, which is understandable, once again, covering this pawn. But you've mentioned something about this beautiful bishop, and black being very solid on the king side, no attack for white. And it was about the time to spoil it all with the move g6, g5. And normally, of course, you're not looking at this side of the board at all.
Right.
But when it's played, you understand that there is no defense whatsoever against g4.
And d4 pawn is...
And d4 is extremely weak. And then again, the best white can do, like white's position is desperate. The best white can do is to go queen e3, pin the pawn for now. Black goes king g7. The threat is back in action. And then to go h4.
Right.
So this way, you have an answer to g4 in the form of knight g5.
Gotcha.
But what's the answer to g takes h4?
And there is no answer. That means you've lost the pawn, but at least the consolation is that this is a double pawn. So queen e2, black is better, but white is holding. So g5 was that powerful.
Wow.
Wow. So maybe, a missed opportunity there for Pragg. And we just saw the position queen d8. The other tournament leader, let's go to the game of Gukesh. Let me bring that one up, because the tournament's been kind of spoiled by Alireza in the sense that we know he's a great player, heir apparent, but he's also having a terrible tournament. Which Alireza is going to show up? Is it going to be the 2800 that won the Grand Chess Tour and won the Sinquefield Cup in extraordinary fashion? Or is it the player who's certainly languishing at the bottom of the field? This position, I actually really like white. Now, the question is it a big advantage, or the computer doesn't see mate? Whenever the computer doesn't see mate, he's not going to be impressed.
Says no advantage
whatsoever. I love white.
Well, what's interesting, I would think that it has to do with black capturing on a5, and therefore, like, white has the compensation for the point. But apparently, even a move like knight c5, computer is just not impressed.
Really?
Yeah. So as far as I understand it, like, first of all, you can't go queen d2 now because knight e4, right?
Right.
So maybe the knight c5 is not just a move; it actually serves the purpose of putting knight on e4 and so. Moreover, computer's answer to queen takes a5 is that it makes draw immediately with white by going queen d2 and now, of course, threatening to sacrifice on h6. But after king h7, it can't find anything better than give a check, d3 or c2, not important, push the king back to h8 and repeat the move. So this is the real question, I think. If Gukesh captures the pawn, and will Alireza, having such a terrible, terrible score in the tournament as he has, will he repeat the moves? No, I think he's going to go all in.
Of course.
Which makes it extremely exciting, but also potentially dangerous for Alireza.
As well as
he might want
rivals.
to stop the bleeding a little bit, so he might be okay with the draw.
That's the point.
It depends on the player.
Right. If you don't mind, queen takes a5. Just put that one on the board because, okay, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, all in. So I would love the rook on b1 to be teleported to g4.
So to be in the game.
Correct. So let's go.
Right.
You got to move your queen.
Goes, well, anywhere.
Well,
according to the machine, okay, let's put it on d8, the dumbest square. I would never go there, but yeah, like, if
Okay.
computer insists on this being a draw, let's
see. Queen c1. Give me
Queen
the pawn.
to c1, king h7 is the only move. So if there is any serious threat in this position,
Right.
it is a bishop h6 threat.
Exactly.
Because now black is forced to play king h7.
Okay. Queen c2 check, king back to h8, and rook a4.
Ah, so you want to give a check first,
Yeah.
king back to h8, and rook to a4.
And then knight c5 stops me. I was about to play bishop
c5,
h6.
rook g8. I'm not convinced because yes, it is the evaluation. It is in black's favor, but computer changes its first move, and this usually comes from not enough depth and quite possibly Yasser's attack, or white's attack in this case, is very, very dangerous.
Alireza's attack.
Right. I mean, rook g8, bishop f8. Okay, it has some thought
Defense.
of this way of guarding.
Who would you like? Would you take White's position down a pawn? I mean,
Yeah,
you've
of
got
course, because I mean he has the perpetual whenever he wants it.
Yeah, yeah, I would think so. And what about the ladies' game and what's happening?
Let's take a look at our key matchup.
The marquee matchup for sure, absolutely.
Goryachkina against Zhongyi. We have an end game already.
Well, that happened fast. It's 4 rooks. Pardon me. 4 rooks.
At the moment, white's up a pawn, but it's black to move, and I'm assuming rook a4 is the next move.
All right. Well, let's
And then
snap.
how does white save the a6 pawn?
Well, I despise this pin. I mean, the first thought that comes to my mind is something
Rook 6.
like rook to e6 to defend the pawn, or maybe even rook to e5.
And if I double on a file, rook b to a2, are you going to double on the 6th rank?
No, well, yeah. So the question was like maybe I should be playing this move here, right? And just maybe
King g6, maybe?
taking a pawn. Yeah. In this case, well, I mean, this would be fantastic result for Tan as she would draw
With
her
black.
closest rival with the black pieces. Miro, was there any opportunity for Aleksandra in this game? Because at the position that we've come into, looks like a draw is more likely.
Honestly,
than
not
anything.
really.
No opportunities here. She had.
Well, there are always opportunities in
Right,
chess, right? But it's not like at any given point you could say, okay, this is clearly better or safely better even.
Right.
Right, so that was after move 10, so potentially hanging pawns.
Right.
The structure that they've
achieved.
achieved on the board, yeah, like over here, for instance. And computer leaning wide, but like marginal 0, 2, something of that nature. And then later on, so this is the moment where things started simplifying.
Right.
Here, well, now that I'm checking here, computer is against capturing on d5. So
Which was played.
keep the position as is, yeah. And keeping the position as is means, well, in a move like knight to h3, which looks surprising. Okay, there is an idea to go on f4, of course, but one has to know what happens if the pawn is taken. And yeah, I mean, I would reject knight h3 on the basis that my pawn's hanging. Yeah, but queen a5, you take the pawn back, and apparently you win d5 later on. So knight h3, black would have to find something else. And yes, indeed, that perhaps was the only moment where white's better. And if we are talking final position, rook a4, and rook e5 is already on the board. I just have to add that after rook e6, black is much better by doubling, not on the a file, but on the second rank. And then all of a sudden, white is in a serious trouble.
Right.
Yeah, because let's not forget that 2 rooks on the 7th, or in this case, in the second rank, are very dangerous.
Time a factor in this one?
Well, let's check. Oh, yes, 6 minutes, but for Goryachkina. So from tournament leader's standpoint, she has an equal position and also very comfortable on the clock. It's move 35, though, so even for Goryachkina, after she found rook e5, I don't think she'll have any issues. Very likely a draw.
Very good. Thank you.
I think we have some updates in Hikaru Nepo's game, and Nepo went for the line we're discussing with all the moves with bishop g4, take on e2, and looks like he's going for the repetition.
Really? Wow.
Unless he changes his mind and takes on d4, but that
you
would be
were skeptical,
big
Nazi. I have to remind you that. By the way, I do want to say that for me, these two players, very much like Vichy, are fantastic calculators, and they spot these forcing lines, takes, knight f4 check. It's not a surprise for me that he did go for this entire line, and he just jumped. He didn't go with the perpetual check right away. He went Queen d1, and you were saying rook c3 here, Miro, was the...
Hikaru played knight b3.
Hikaru played knight b3. Okay.
And now Nepo still has the option to give perpetual.
Right.
And I think he has to, because if white bishop comes to e3 and then white takes on a5...
Right. I mean, here, bishop d2, bishop takes a5, bishop back to d2, and I start pushing the a pawn. You better give a perpetual check before it's gone. In fact, it looks very, very likely at this point that a perpetual check is inevitable.
Right. So Compi has like 3 first lines as different versions of a perpetual, like check from g2, check from h2. Obviously, with pieces being like this poorly organized for the moment, you always have the perpetual. Now thinking how realistic, say, black chances of winning would be if he'll try to go h6 and g5. And the issue is this, that I have, that you go g5 and white apparently will be able to take the pawn. And even sacrificing the bishop on g5.
Right.
So it all becomes kind of a play on one wing where white is all of a sudden coordinated. So you don't really win this one with black.
Yeah. Don't even want to play it.
Yeah. So queen g2, and I think we might witness a very, very soon the end of this, well, entertaining game. Yeah.
I'm for sure thinking a perpetual check is inevitable. There's one game remaining that we haven't checked in on. We will in just a moment, but I do expect the perpetual with, say, queen f3 check, king c2, queen e4 check to pop up any moment. But Nijat against Vidit, it will be our final game as we see this perpetual. For Jan, Petrov defense holds again. I mean, the Petrov defense has been his go-to number 1A game. When he needs to draw, people are not piercing.
Did he play any Petrov against Ding in the World Championship match, or we didn't see e4? We saw a lot of d4 in that match.
A lot of d4, yeah. Trying to remember. God, you put me on the spot with that one. But I want to say that he withstood some very, very serious preparation by Hikaru and Hikaru's team. And once again, he will, as the tournament leader, drawing with the black pieces against a rival. It's very nice.
A success. Yeah.
It's a great success. Yeah, and for Hikaru, how big okay, he did play the move a4. The computer gave him a big fat 0, a big fat question mark. Once again, knight h3 in that position, Miro.
Okay, I just want to once again drive it to this very moment after move 21.
Please.
So this was the Nepo's best move, after which it's a draw, or rather equal, and I believe again, like 20 forced moves of sacrifices. Right, he goes bishop f5, it's move 21.
Okay.
And up to move 26, Hikaru was doing everything right, and almost everything right. And he had, like queen e2, knight e4 here, would he taken on h3, it's 0.6, 0.7, but it goes down, you know, Yasser. It could be that it's enough resources even here.
Officially a draw, just as you were saying that. 0.6, you say?
And now it goes down, but what's interesting, it really, well, the only way for black to play would be to bail on with knight c5. Interestingly, though, if you trade, computer's not impressed because you lose the d4 pawn
As well.
also.
Yeah.
And still undeveloped. Yeah.
Still some pull. Wow, okay. A draw, and a very dramatic draw it was, this one. And our tournament standings are, we have a clear first.
Yes, at the moment, after his game was drawn, Nepomniachtchi is in the clear first with 4.5 points, and Hikaru remains at 50%.
Yeah, 50% after the first half means that Hikaru is really going to have to step up. In the second half, just to remind everybody, they same player, same opponent, same order, they just reverse colors. Guess what? Nepo goes into the second half with an extra white coming up. He'll have 4 whites in 7 games coming up. As we jump to the game of Gukesh for a moment. Let me just go to...
Or should we check Nijat's game?
Of course we should. I promised that we would do that. This was one of those games where, you know, I look at these positions and I scratch my head and I say, I don't understand chess. I mean, it's like neither player seemed to really take a stand. Like, I will die on this hill. I want to play in this way. Rather, on the contrary, it seemed to me like there was a lot of fishing going on as the players were unsure.
Very strange pawn structure at the moment on the board in the current position.
Double pawns, a pawn.
There's too many weak pawns, and yet none of them are getting lost.
Right. It's like neither side stands well.
Yeah, the knight on h4 is not ideal, but it's hoping to get sacrificed.
Right. f6.
Probably equal at the moment, this position. It's hard to come up with a good plan for either side.
Well, to my way of thinking, I mean, I see a backward pawn on the open file. I'm not going to hesitate too long. I like the idea of putting my rook on d7, putting my king on g7, yeah? And these pawns are doing a pretty good job at holding white's pieces at bay. Oh, by the way, rook to f1, teasing the f6 pawn. Miro, jump in. What does the, numerically speaking?
Well, says equal, and specifically, yeah, with rook f1 and knight h7, that's maybe why you need to have the rook on g7 guarding g6 pawn.
Right.
Because, yeah, interestingly, a couple of moves earlier, knight to e2, which the move which computer suggests instead of rook f3 and claims white to be better, because apparently he's in time to go knight c3 and threaten knight d5, which would be a big thing, right? So, say bishop c6, knight c3, which is follow computer's line. Knight d5 is not in the top 3 moves, which I'm a bit surprised. I would still try to go knight d5. Well, computer is not scared of this position, but here, with the human eye, we would say, like, if you offer white to play this or the one he has in the game, he would probably go with the one with the, And Nijat's last move, knight e2, so he recognizes the idea, but it's too late according to machine, because queen d6, and I presume some f5 is in the air.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
And
reminder.
he put the rook on f3 himself, so I assume that was, you know, part of the wrong plan. Yeah, so knight e2, now queen d6 actually leads to black's advantage, so a big change.
Wow, and for
that
Vidit,
f5 is so unexpected, but if it is found, black looks much better.
Truly.
Immediately.
I mean, you suddenly see a discovered check. You know, you get to play f5, maybe e5, e4 on a good day. And for Vidit, that would be, wow, that would propel him. Again, I'm going to jump to the game of Fabiano just to catch up with Prague. Prague comes into this round, I want to say, as the best score in the last 3 rounds, because he started at a -1 and he won 2 and got a draw as well. So Prague's on a streak, a hot streak. He's up against Fabi. We just see the move knight e7. And that's interesting because in my mind, I saw Fabi capturing this knight. I didn't want to see this knight somehow wander away. I didn't see my light squared bishop as having too much to say. Like, I could imagine I would want to go takes, rook to the 7th.
And use the b file.
Use the b file. Yes, sure. I will play g3 and king g2. And yeah, I can imagine that the bishop might run back and tickle a3. But Fabi did not capture. He left the knight on the board, played king g2, queen d, and we've caught up with the players, rook b3.
I think we're going to see some trades now. Black has an option to also offer queen trade if he wants to play rook c1.
Ah, I keep forgetting that you can X-ray and use it. If you were in Prague's shoes, what would you choose, Nazi? Would you want to trade?
I evaluate this position as pretty equal. I don't think Black has enough to actually play for more than equality. So I would play rook c1 and go into the endgame. Opposite color bishops on the board, one pair of rooks. Everything looks very even.
For me, I like the French defense. I like the fact that I've got a potential weakness. I would find myself saying, okay, my rook on a8, it's not earning its keep. You got to put that rook to work. I would find myself drawn to the move rook a7 with the idea of rook c7, similar to what you're suggesting. Take the rook, but also follow up with rook to b3. I would think slightly better for Prague. But over to you, Miro. Breaking news.
Well, breaking news that Vidit finds queen d6. And by the speed he played it, it seems like he recognized the idea.
Yeah.
And now f5 is a really a big threat. Like, well,
knight c1
was just played, and then, yeah, f5. And the best you can do, once again, according to the machine, is to crawl back with the rook. And then the knight starts hanging. So some moves like queen to e7, for instance. Knight f3 takes, and this beautiful structure is getting ruined. And then, yeah, like computer starts suggesting stuff like g5, who's attacking whom?
No, this is repulsive for white. Just the
right, and you could have had this knight around d5.
No.
Yeah.
That's rubbing salt into the wound. A knight on c1 versus a knight on d5. No comparison. F5 and on the board.
F5's on the board.
He's found that idea. And
Vidit
again,
in the driver's seat.
all the Indian players are doing very well. Prague, Gukesh obviously tied for first. Prague half a point behind, but I think Vidit's a half a point behind.
And Vidit had a very tough time. He had 2 losses in a row.
Right.
And now coming back. Wow,
And
it's
he
really
had
impressive.
Fabi up against the wall. Once again, here's what I said. A win by Vidit. Look what that does to him. That just propels him right up to
Probably
Gukesh
third
Fabi
place.
situation. Absolutely. And if he wins his second victory in a row, wow. That's really big. Just wanted to ask Miro, in the game of Fabi, I think we were saying that Prague has a smidge of an advantage, just again a numerical number.
Yeah, well,
0-11.
0-11, minus 0-11 in Black's favor.
Yeah.
What's interesting, Yasser, that trading the bishop on c6 would have been a mistake, according to the machine.
Really?
Yeah, because then probably it makes it easier for Black to double on the c file, because now whenever Black was to play rook c8, you can, if you switch into the defensive mode with white, you just go bishop a6 and say you can double the rooks. Rook goes pretty much anywhere. You return to b5.
Gotcha.
So the bishop is not very useful, but maybe it's, kind of doesn't let Black have the full comfort, the full control. Right, and this one is equal. Yeah, kind of the best move computer has is king to G7, which is a non-move pretty much.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, King G2 is a non-move.
Right.
Kind of,
yeah,
you know.
it can be played. It's
Right.
not that the position is a dead draw. It can be played, but
Right.
neither side has advantage.
Okay,
Let's
and
check Firouzja's game. I think you were right, Yasser. He is not going for an immediate draw.
no,
He's
no,
testing
Alireza versus Gukesh, and look at that move, C3, C4. No, for sure, Alireza, he strikes me as the type of player, you know, he could be -4. And he's a fighter. I mean, all of these guys, they're just warriors. Knight F3, take the pawn. I was attracted to Rook A1, Rook A4, Queen C1. We saw a line, Queen C1, threatening to sacrifice King H7, and this is the draw you were mentioning, Queen C2 check and perpetual. No. I'm not done with you yet. C4, and what's the idea, Nazi? Help me out.
You're asking me tough questions.
Okay.
Let's say black plays Rook C8. I guess white's idea is to take on D5.
Really? Yeah. I'd hate to trade queens.
Maybe B3 instead of take on D5. Then.
Well, you could trade, and you could, cement your knight on F5. But C3, C4.
We actually do have a move on the board. Gukesh played Rook G8.
Wow.
Does that now avoid those perpetual ideas? If white were to play Queen C1, does black still have to play King H7?
No, he doesn't, because in this particular case, he could go overboard with the overprotection of the G7 pawn. He could play Bishop F8. I must admit, Miro, that the move Rook G8, at first you kind of shy away, like, what are you doing? But the more you look at it and you say, I'm just going to stop all your threats as much as I possibly can. Yeah. Rook G8 and Bishop F8. It may not be everybody's cup of tea, but it just stopped white's attack fully.
Right you are. And you've mentioned like the way the standings would look if Prag wins or Vidit wins. But how about Gukesh winning and taking the lead going to the halfway of the tournament?
Wow.
Yeah, we were, of course, very happy to see Firouzja play on. We want an exciting game, but could be that secretly Gukesh was also hoping, okay, please avoid the perpetual. Let's play on, because it's a big chance, of course.
Right.
Yeah, Rook G8, well, reality is white is not that much worse after, even the most primitive. Take on D5 and trade the queens. White does have some compensation.
Knight D4.
Knight to D4, and then, especially since you've made a rather awkward move for an endgame, Rook G8.
Right.
Yeah, but the game would go on. And your best move, by the way, would be...
Unravel
we've traded the queen, so I guess I no longer need the rook on G8.
Right.
Here it looks like black has no risk. Endgame with an extra pawn.
Yeah, Bishop F8 and...
White
Rook
has
C1,
to be accurate here.
Rook C1, I assume to play Rook C1. And
the Rook C1 is possible,
C8.
but then,
C5.
but very often it happens, right, that the rook on G3, which was attacking kind of a couple of moves ago maybe, now will be running into some jumps like knight C5, E4, or even knight C5 to E6.
Right.
So I'm with Nazi on this one.
Yeah.
So it's unclear if black is better, but it's an extra pawn. Black is safe, and he can try whatever he wants.
Right.
Yeah.
Did the move, because the move C3, C4 came, and we really didn't get this moment, you were saying that the engine wanted to take the repetition with Queen
white,
C1 and Queen
D2 or Queen C1, and when the king goes, check from any of the squares and go back, attack, and so on.
If you force the computer, to continue the game as white, did the computer like C4? I mean, it wasn't on my agenda at all.
Well, Rook G8, but now after some consideration, it says after C4, Rook G8, it's still equal.
Okay.
It's still equal. It was funny that after, say, Rook C8 or other moves that you guys were trying, yeah, computer would be chickening out and once again going for this perpetual as soon as there is a chance.
Gotcha.
And in this case, I think bishop h6, yeah, bishop h6, and no, well, this one doesn't work, but there was a line, yeah, b3, I think, b3 first after rook c8, b3 first, and the black plays some move, and then once again, I just want to draw.
I just want to draw it. Okay, very good. We'll keep an eye on this one. Again, I'm just going to check in on
sometimes when
Fabi's.
you're playing a tournament and you're leading, it's fun to play opponent like Firouzja who's not going for a draw.
Right,
Because secretly, like Miro said, you also want to have a chance
right.
to win, because this win would immediately make Gukesh sole leader of the tournament.
Wow, 17 years old, youngest player in the field, be it +3, the halfway point of the candidates, with the potential opportunity to play for the World Championship. My goodness, what a story that would be. I wanted to jump back to the ladies' games for a second, because we didn't,
had
beyond
one
the
result.
Alexandra game. Sorry, what was the result?
We have a draw in the game Muzichuk-Koneru.
Again, two ladies who are really top players on the women's circuit. They came into this tournament, at least from my perspective, as favorites. And the Steinitz with knight g8 to e7. This was, it's a rare guest at the elite level. So Hompi has been doing some preparation. And what did you think
Looked
about
like a
this
pretty
game?
even game. Neither of them
feels-
really missed any chances.
Yeah, it feels like there was no huge missed opportunities. And they did get into a rook ending.
We have a very interesting moment in this game late against Vaishali.
Okay, let me go to
Because
that.
as I'm checking, I think the black's last move, I just see a big question mark.
A big
my
fat
eye.
queen.
Queen b8.
That was a question mark?
Yes.
Boy.
So black was supposed to play queen e5 or queen e7. It's a very messy position.
So basically, Michelle wanted to defend her bishop with the move queen b8, obviously, and the computer is sitting there saying, don't do that. Just go queen e5. After the move queen b8, that did get the big fat question mark. How will the line continue?
Do you want to?
Knight-
Are you ready to be shocked?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Queen takes d5.
That was my first move. Queen takes d5. Okay,
Last rank weakness.
that's got a spectacular written all over it. Help me out here. I take the queen.
Knight
f6.
6.
I take the knight.
I pick up both rooks. Rook e8 check.
My king, never mind.
Rook takes d5, and black queen doesn't even have any moves besides a8 square. I'm about to double on the 8th rank.
That is really embarrassing. My queen is essentially checkmated.
I'm sorry, not only the queen, but try moving pieces in this position. That's absolutely amazing. I was also shocked with this queen d5 line.
Nice. By
Yes,
the way, if you see the line,
visual.
it's yes. What a visual. Queen takes d5.
Yeah, like to be perfectly honest, rook d5 also is good for white,
Clear.
but such an unexpected
Moment.
move. Yeah.
Yeah.
And here, yeah, let's just check how much it is better for king h7 or g7.
Sure.
Doesn't matter. It's what's the material? So white has two rooks against the queen and the bishop.
Right.
Right. And little guys we don't count. Okay.
Right.
White has a pawn.
Right.
And it's almost +4 for white, and the
Wow.
best move being starting giving pieces away. Knight e7.
Seven.
Your second best move is queen a8.
Queen
Just to let you know, like your second best move is queen to a8. So this is not happening.
I do have an update, very unfortunate
Please.
for Lei. She did not find this tactic, and she played knight a7 instead
Knight takes a7.
after queen b8.
Right.
And looks like Vaishal is back in the game, because after queen a7,
Wow.
position is more or less equal again. What a missed
Huge and missed
opportunity.
opportunity there. I love that situation with the queen on b8. I can imagine, somebody playing the move Queen A8 and, you know, saying, well, that's my second best move. And they were like, what? Queen A8 and Rook takes D5. Let's pause our analysis and jump to Toronto as Anastasia caught up with Hikaru. Over to you, Anastasia.
We are here with Hikaru Nakamura. The game just finished in a draw against Jan Nepomniachtchi. Considering the tournament situation, were you happy with the opening choice and how did it go, the game?
Yeah, definitely I was quite happy with the opening choice because it's a very double-edged position. It felt like it could go either way. I mean, I know objectively the computer thinks that everything is probably a draw, but the fact there was material imbalance made it very likely that you know, I could win. And at this point in the tournament, you definitely want to end up in those situations if possible, because the more boring game is, the more likely it's a draw, the less chance you have to catch up. So I was very happy with what I got up until probably somewhere around like move 20-25 or so when I played this knight g1, which maybe was okay, but first things first is like right here after queen f1, I looked at this position before the game, but the line that I had seen was bishop d8. Now obviously, you know, this is a weak engine, so it's showing something different, because I think what I looked at here was knight d3. I mean, obviously the engine's not that strong on this computer, but...
Can you explain in general, like you are exchange up, what is the point, let's say, what you're trying to get?
What I looked at before the game was
Yes.
knight d3, if I can ever move.
Yes, knight d3.
Yeah, it was knight d3. Like this was what I had looked up before the game very briefly, was that the knight goes to d3. So like when he didn't do this, when he played, yeah, it's fine. How do I go
Anywhere.
back? Yeah, no, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Scroll up. Yeah, so when he played knight d7, I mean, the point is basically I have a rook and a bishop that are out of play here, and if I get them into the action in the center of the board, I probably just win the game. So I was trying to figure out why he played knight d7 instead of bishop d8. I mean, obviously bishop d8 is a computer move. I knew at the board he wasn't going to play it, and I was wondering why I hadn't looked at like knight d7. But I thought everything was fine up until here, when I thought, no, queen e1 is... Queen e1, knight e4, and a4 is, I mean, maybe this is good, but I don't know. Like, yeah, I mean, this already is getting, I mean, this feels way too tricky. Like bishop d8, rook a3, even bishop f6. I mean, yeah, like I know a computer is going to win this position, but in a human game,
I
mean, to go like
black consolidated, brought all pieces, yes, into the game.
Yeah, and you're supposed to go knight b3 and take everything on the queen side. I mean, that's very, very hard to play as a human. I don't think it's very realistic. Like even here, I'm not sure if I trust the engine. But anyway, the point was right here. I played knight g1, which I thought was logical. I played knight to g1. Yeah, now he played. What did he play after knight g1? He played king to g8, right. Yeah, this was the moment that I was very, very, very upset at myself, because I played queen e2, and like the two ideas I was looking at was queen e2 or knight f3, and then like basically as soon as I played queen e2, I was just very upset, because I think after knight f3, knight e4 and a4 was just much better. Well, it's not much better. Okay, goes to show.
I mean,
goes to show.
we're still not sure about what computer thinks.
No, but if the computer says zeros, it says zeros, that means it's probably a draw.
Now we know, yes. So.
But I mean, basically, so as soon as I played queen e2, I spent like 20 minutes just being very upset at myself, because I thought that after, after knight to e4, the move I was going to play was takes, but I simply thought that this was just nothing after bishop g4. I mean, queen e3, knight c5, and I just did not see how I can be better. Knight b3 is apparently good for white.
Wow. I mean, just to defend the queen, yes, and not to take on
But I
e6.
thought he could take here, actually.
Yeah,
Takes and bishop
take.
b6, and why is white so much better?
Good question. Maybe you take
I'm
and
supposed to take and play.
e3, e5, king f2. Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
I mean, this is a bit much to
understand.
to
Yes,
see
and then
over
you
the
go
board,
back,
yeah.
yes, if necessary.
Yeah, this is very, very hard to see
Yeah.
over the board. I mean, maybe I should have played it anyway, but I just wasn't sure about all these lines.
How does it
but-
feel now that you know that queen it was not so bad?
But I mean, the other thing that was Jan wasn't going to go for this. This is what I expect him to play, but he wasn't going to go for this. I think he said he was going to play. What did he say he was going to play?
He was mentioning.
I think he was
some
mentioning some
bishop.
f5 line here.
F5, exactly, F5 he said, yes. He didn't want to
Yeah, I think
go
he's
for
going to
this.
play for some f5 here, but I mean, again, it's I don't know.
You take
takes,
here.
takes, and bishop f4 is just winning. Okay, yeah, this is kind of bad then. Yeah, after knight e4. Wait a second. So takes, king g1, bishop g4. Wait, no, but queen e3 or was it queen e1? I'm trying to remember this line. It was queen e3. Yeah.
Yeah, so the idea is that queen will be
No, but
protected,
actually,
yes?
sorry. But after,
knight
sorry,
b3.
after knight b3 is knight e4. What am I talking about? No, there's knight e4.
So he goes back and there is no exchange, yes?
Yeah, I mean, maybe this was bishop d2, a4, and knight c5 is good for white.
Yeah. What a crazy game. I mean, on every move you have all those lines. I mean, how is it possible to to solve all these positions on every move. How do you keep?
Well, but I mean, the thing is, basically it was that or play a4, and then I just played a4, which is just, a horrible move, absolutely horrible. I probably still should have gone for this line, but it's after I'm already upset. I spent all this time. It's kind of hard, and I played a4, which was, very lucky to not be losing, because I simply actually did not see this trick with bishop g3.
Okay.
Yeah, I just overlooked this completely, and I'm very lucky that I can go into this endgame with the rook in 2 pieces, and then it's still actually a draw, luckily. But that's what it is.
Yeah, it was a really crazy game, but still was so much exciting for the followers, obviously. What do you think about the tournament so far? 7 rounds already in the history.
Yeah, it's a decent result. Obviously, much like 2 years ago, it would have been nice to have gotten a win here with the white piece against Jan, but it's decent. Still many more rounds.
For sure, yes, and all the best of luck for Hikaru, and see you in 2 days. Thank you.
Thank you, Anastasia. Thank you, Hikaru. And that preparation just brings up a really important question. Like, these guys prepare. How many moves do they make, boom, 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 before somebody falls into a deep think? Thanks to our statistician, Ben Underwood, we have an answer for you. Nepo has been playing fabulous chess, which is what's brought him into first, and he's played almost 16 moves before he falls into a deep think. Remarkably, at the bottom end of that, Gukesh, who's also in first place, he tends to play merely 8, close to 9 moves before he falls into a deep think.
Some of these players have very different style of playing. Nepo is all about prep.
Yes.
He always comes in, he always has more time than his opponents.
It carries with him, yes.
And Pragg, in this tournament, we did see his couple of openings that he took huge risks that paid off. So Pragg is also extremely well prepared. Starts thinking after 15 moves.
Absolutely. For me, Fabi being number 6 on that graph, that's a little surprising, because I think of Fabi as a great preparation, seeing him down there like that. But again, just in that interview with Hikaru just a moment ago, what was really stunning to me is this morning, coming into the game, he has the move bishop d8 on his board.
Right.
Wow, that is clairvoyance, I want to say, that you can see that far ahead. We've reached that stage in our show where we'd like to check in on our friends at the Q Boutique and find what's on offer. Well, here it is. Gear up in the newest apparel from the St. Louis Chess Club with this official branded hip bag. Features a fully adjustable belt and the Chess Club signature logo across the center of the bag. All available for you at qboutiquestl.com. And as we go on our break, we have Sharon Carpenter sat down with Fabi for an interview. I hope you enjoy the interview. We'll see you on the other side of the break.
Fabi, it's great to have you here. We're here in St. Louis, the city you call home, and also the capital of chess here in America. Tell us about why you decided to move to St. Louis in 2016.
Yeah, it's been so long now that I feel really at home here. And thinking back on it, when I first moved, it was of course all because of the chess scene here and the chess club and everything that's going on for chess in St. Louis. But it's been so long, I can hardly even remember my first emotions going to a new city, because I had never lived here before, and I had only visited for the first time in 2014 to play the Sinkfield Cup. That was my first time being in St. Louis.
So you had just been here one time and then you decided to make the move?
I'd already been here a bit, so I knew the city a little bit, but I wasn't too familiar with it, and now it's already been like 8 years almost.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
Now there's a resurgence going on in American chess, and that's thanks in part to you and everything that you've been able to accomplish. There's a lot of excitement around you. You've inspired so many young players and American fans. How's that make you feel?
No, it's a good feeling. I mean, whenever we have a tournament here and there's spectators, there's kids who are asking for autographs or for photos, it's a nice feeling. I don't think that I'm the main, let's say, driver of all the movement in chess. There's definitely been a lot of people who have been very influential. Obviously, the St. Louis Chess Club has been, in terms of organizing tournaments, not just for the professional players, but also for the amateurs, the kids, the up-and-coming players, the U.S. Junior Champ, even the U.S. Senior Championship. All these different events that are bringing players of different age ranges, men, women, boys, and girls, and so on to the game is I think great, and I'm happy that also I'm helping inspire some players who are interested in chess. So that's a good feeling.
Wow.
But it's nice when you come to a tournament and there's a lot of people watching, and also you know that there's a lot of people watching online as well.
The stages are set, the players are primed, the best of the best are ready to face off in the 2024 Grand Chess Tour. The top players in the world prepare to battle across 4 countries for a $1.5 million prize fund. Everything starts in Warsaw with the Superbet Rapid and Blitz Poland. Then off to Bucharest for the Superbet Chess Classic Romania. The players then travel to Zagreb for the Super United Rapid and Blitz Croatia. The tour concludes with back-to-back events in St. Louis, Missouri, the chess capital of America, for the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz and the Sinkfield Cup. 9 players will go in, but only one can be crowned champion. Who is prepared to make history? Get ready for the return of the Grand Chess Tour.
The St. Louis Chess Club is the premier chess facility in the United States. We bring the educational benefits of chess to thousands of students across the St. Louis area. We also promote chess at the highest levels, hosting all levels of the U.S. championships, as well as high-profile tournaments that attract the world's best players. Become a member and enjoy perks such as free classes and lectures, weekly tournaments, and so much more. Visit stlouischessclub.org to claim your membership today. The St. Louis Chess Club Scholastic Program brings the educational value of chess to kids in schools across the St. Louis area. Active in over 100 schools throughout the St. Louis City and County, the St. Louis Chess Club has been able to reach over 85,000 students in both in-school and after-school programs. We view chess as a valuable educational tool. Learn more about our scholastic programming by visiting stlouischessclub.org/education. In the world of collegiate chess, there is no team rising quite like the one at the University of Missouri. The team has brought home title after title, including the 2024 Pan American Intercollegiate Championship, the first time ever in school history. Guided by their head coach, Christian Carilla, there is no stopping the Tigers. Respect, responsibility, discovery, excellence. University of Missouri.
The World Chess Hall of Fame, located in the heart of St. Louis's historic Central West End. Want to know why chess has intrigued people around the world for nearly 1,500 years? Stop by and learn about the impact of chess from our 3 floors showcasing the art, culture, and history of the game. The World Chess Hall of Fame has something for everyone to enjoy. For more information on current exhibits, please visit worldchesshof.org. St. Louis, the chess capital of the United States. It also plays host to an award-winning shop dedicated to chess merchandise, all-occasion gifts, and plenty more. At Q Boutique, you can shop both in-store and online. From quirky greeting cards to luxury chess sets, there is something for everyone at Q Boutique. Enjoy a shopping experience like no other. Make sure to check out QBoutiqueSTL.com for a wide variety of gifts for everyone to enjoy.
At St. Louis University, chess and success go hand in hand. Founded in 2016, the St. Louis University chess team has risen to become recognized as one of the best in the nation, bringing home multiple titles, including the National Championship in 2022. With members from 9 countries and led by Grandmasters Miroshnichenko and Darius Fierks, the future is bright for the SLU chess team. Higher purpose, greater good. St. Louis University. The St. Louis Chess Club is the premier chess facility in the United States and is among the best in the world. Thanks to co-founders Dr. Jeannie Cairns Sinkfield and Rex Sinkfield. The St. Louis Chess Club is a non-profit organization committed to promoting the game of chess locally and internationally. We bring the educational benefits of chess to thousands of students across the St. Louis area, promoting cognitive development, critical thinking, concentration, and analytical skills. The St. Louis Chess Club welcomes chess lovers of any age and skill level to come and enjoy the game of chess. We also promote chess at the highest levels, hosting all levels of the U.S. Championships and the American Cup, as well as high-profile tournaments that attract the world's best players, including the prestigious Sinkfield Cup, Cairns Cup, and many more. All tournaments can be streamed via our YouTube and Twitch channels that also include over 2,000 chess lectures for anyone to enjoy. Become a member and enjoy perks such as free classes and lectures, weekly tournaments, merchandise discounts, and so much more. Visit stlouischessclub.org to claim your membership today.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's take a look at our current standings as players are still playing round 7. We have one draw. Jan Nepomniachtchi drew his game against Hikaru Nakamura.
And what a draw it was. I mean, for those of you who are joining us late, you have missed the Donnybrook. Yeah.
Indeed, and we still have all the other games going in the open section, but let's take a look at the standings in the ladies because we do have a lot of results.
And indeed, the one result there, Lei has won her game, so she's going to have 4 points. She'll be with Katja, a third.
And yeah, we had 3 draws. Zhongyi, Goryachkina drew their game, and the key matchup today turned out to be Lei against Vaishali because she won in a beautiful style.
Exactly. Well, we'll pick up on that game. In fact, I've got it on my board as that last move by White. Very nice move. Don't get me wrong. Any move that forces your opponent to resign respects, right? Knight to h5 as played, hitting. It's a triple hit against the g7 pawn. You're already 1 pawn to the good, and this is where Black resigned. As we were coming on, we were looking at, bishop takes g7, king takes g7, and knight e8 double check, and we were going king hunting, trying to find a checkmate. But our congratulations to Lee for her win today. It's always nice when everybody else draws and you win. You're the sole winner.
Gives you a big jump in the standings.
Absolutely. But let's. So with round 7 completed and the halfway point, this is the results of today's round.
We had 1 win by Lei and 3 draws.
And again, that game between Anastasia and Tan, the 2 ladies leading the tournament, Aleksandra, sorry, and Tan, that was huge. And for Tan, that just puts her in the driver's seat heading to the second half of the tournament. Jumping to the open section, Gukesh, 17 years young, has a golden opportunity, Miro. Is he taking advantage of it?
Well, he just made his move. Let me check. First things first, Firouzja is down to 6 minutes. Okay. It's as early as move 24, so still quite a few moves to the time control. And once again, let's remind everyone that in the open section, there is no increment whatsoever. No 30 seconds, not even a 2-second increment. It's not impossible
in the first 40 moves.
Yep, it's not impossible that you would lose on time.
No.
Current evaluation is heavily in Gukesh's favor. I'm just checking what time he has, 16 minutes.
So if Gukesh converts this position, that will be 3rd loss in a row for Firouzja?
Yeah, Firouzja falling apart.
Wow. Ouch. And the last, well, it was strange because White's attack on the king side,
we always said was enough, right?
Is no more, I want to say. Rook g8 kind of put it on the freeze. Rook a1, maybe not such a nice move.
queen b4, and then it turned out, yeah, so you're not in time with the attack, and he had to switch to kind of keeping the stability of the queen side. Knight c5 is very clever.
I love that rook g8 move. They changed everything because
didn't it?
It looks like an awkward move, but it defended everything on the king side, and now he can improve the rest of his pieces and take the initiative.
Right. Well, rook g8, I'm with you 100%. Just shut things down. And rook c1, that's down to 4 minutes, 41 seconds. A pawn to the good. Gukesh, 17 years young, and playing for the first place in the candidates in the first half. That's just, wow. I mean, I'm full of admiration. Rook g8, d8, and by the way, he's keeping up the pressure on White's clock with this move.
Yep.
Miro, jump in.
Rook g to d8, well, apparently not the strongest. Well, computer for some reason liked rook to c8 better. And now, what can happen, once again, with players being short on time, I'm not sure if it will happen, but there is a really fun tactical sequence available. b4, queen takes, let's assume, then
d3.
c takes d5.
Okay.
And if you take with the pawn, then rook b3 takes b7. All of a sudden, white is back in the game. Yes, so c takes d5, and then computer goes with knight takes. Oops, I'm sorry, I misclicked. Knight takes f2, and it goes. Time trouble, terrible complications, all you could ask for.
Wow.
And we do have b4 on the board.
b4 on the board. Well, truth being told, queen b6 is an alternative, which keeps the advantage, and maybe
probably I would play queen b6.
has to be preferred.
But can we continue the line after knight f2?
Right. So the line here was captures. By the way, rook b3 immediately isn't the move for whatever reason. Knight f2, king f2, and computer plays rook to d5. As simple as that. Okay. It says it's in black's favor.
I guess bishop c5's coming?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, like you have 3 pawns for the piece. The king is weak. It's not a huge advantage, right? It's just... I'm thinking it could be very practical, honestly, to do that. So white has no initiative.
Yeah, like rook e4, rook d8.
Sometimes you can push the 8 pawn,
Yeah, I wouldn't want to hang around as white in this position. Gukesh, 14 minutes. Alireza down to 4 minutes. Just want to check in on the game between Fabi for a moment and Prague, because that also is such a key game for our tournament standings, as Fabi and Prague are in that tie for 3rd place, just a half a point off the pace of our tournament leaders. We did have a trade of rooks and queens. Knight
looks more even now than it did before. Maybe black's tiny advantage is now completely gone?
Yeah, it feels that way. I understand what Fabi wanted to do. He felt his knight on f3 had no future there. So putting the knight on e2, and then potentially with the knight on e2, playing f4 to shut this bishop out of the game. That was what precipitated these trades on c1. And again, is time a factor in this one?
They both have 8 minutes and only one move to go, so not at all.
Yeah, they've made it.
I think after they reach move 40, one of them will offer a draw shortly after.
I suspect so as well. For Fabi, going into the first half +1, he's in there, but at the same time, maybe he's feeling a little bit nervous.
Yeah, there are definitely some missed opportunities for him in this first half of the tournament.
Exactly. Well, he's feeling nervous, especially with Jan at +2, and probably a pretty impressive +2 at that, with 4 whites for Jan. I think I like Jan's chances. What have you been poking around there?
I'm trying to navigate. This
big
one.
Smiles on your face.
So Firouzja against Gukesh. Yes, and Firouzja's time is sort of running out. Gukesh, of course, captured on b4.
Of course.
Yeah.
Challenge.
And c takes d5 played, and computer, the deeper it goes, it kind of starts to really value this knight takes f2 thing. Yeah, so if you don't, I was thinking, what if you don't take knight f2, right? And we said rook b3, but
He just took on f2.
computer says, yeah, you can go queen a4, but interestingly, this one is acceptable for white.
I take on b7
Yeah.
in this
If
case.
white doesn't take, but goes rook b3 immediately, computer says it's another story. Then at some point, I presume, like if you go for this endgame, black gonna take on c4
Gotcha.
at some point.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so cd5, and
guess
he
what?
captured on f2.
Gukesh is on fire.
Wow. That is, I mean, respects.
I mean, even just 2 moves ago, when we saw b4 Yasser, you said, I would play queen b6 just to be safe.
Right.
Gukesh,
Challenge. And also noticing with 3 minutes on his opponent's clock. And again, how many moves did you say?
they still have 11 moves to go. I
11
believe.
moves in 3 minutes. A very, very good
complicated
chance.
position.
Yeah, where it's very easy to, fall asleep with the clock. Queen takes b2, takes on d5. Now again, we're threatening the knight, and if you wanted to play e takes d5, I understand you completely. But then after the move rook b3 and rook takes b7, you have to reckon that white has compensation for the lost pawn. But knight takes f2.
And Gukesh
King
is
takes
not
f2.
getting his piece back anytime soon. It's
No.
just for 3 pawns and the position he sacrificed.
But rook takes d5. Just look at the position that he's likely to get. Rook e4 is on the board. I suspect, I think I might start with bishop c5.
Bishop e3 for white.
Exactly, and rook d8. So in any case, the idea is I want to get a position like this. I'm just going to put these
But like
moves
at
on
the
board.
moment, knight is pinned on 2 different files.
Right.
So black doesn't even need to put more pressure. He could just start pushing his a pawn and
And that's the other thing. First, I'd love to tie up my opponent as much as I possibly can with as many pins as I possibly can. And then, as you say, push the
a5.
a-pawn. Now, if you wanted to do that
right now also looks good.
right in this exact moment, rook e4, so you want to go a4 here.
a5, yes.
Pardon me, a5 here. Let's say
Although-
go bishop e3.
So you're still not planning to move your knight. Let's go a4.
Okay, now I'm planning to move. Yay, queen c2, and I am planning on moves like knight takes e6, and at least I feel I can breathe for a moment.
Just for a moment.
Just for a moment before you pounce. I get it.
There's a lot of ideas. I was thinking even rook d8, so that if you move the knight, there's some rook d2 tactics.
Whoa, 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 whoa. That's a check. So, okay, but hold on.
You're going to go back to f3.
I'll cover d2. It's such a relief that I'm able to move this knight.
Gukesh did play rook d8 in this position.
By the way, bishop e3 on the board very quickly. No time for Alireza to think, really. He has to react very quickly. Bishop e3. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead. What happens next?
Now probably we'll see bishop c5 and transposition to what you were suggesting.
Okay, but as white, I'm threatening to capture here. Miro, I mean, as white, I'm feeling terrible here. What's going on?
It depends if you see what happens next, because now I've got I have a theory what happened, because Gukesh, as much as we are without the computer assistance, we would think that this just wins, and there is only move that saves white all of a sudden, which is queen b3, and white gets to keep the material. You can't really win
the
it
3
back.
pawns.
Yeah, like rook d4, white takes on d4, and this is the key. And then when you take the queen, picks up the rook with a check, then the other, the bishop.
With the rook.
So after bishop e3, it turns out rook d8 wasn't the best, because after bishop e3, now, well, it says equal in every single line, so bishop c5 is one of the things it does. Kind of black is marginally better with queen a5, but it's very hard to comprehend this move. Maybe trying to get the pawn on e5.
No, just a moment, hold on. I mean, I'm sitting there, Gukesh should be winning this. He's pinning. This is a nasty, nasty pin. This is a nasty, nasty pin. All I have to do is just find some simple sequence. Imagine I play bishop g5 for just a moment. What on earth is Alireza going to do against bishop to g5? Maybe the same idea?
Kind of the
b3?
same trick. So trades on g5 and goes queen b3.
Amazing. Rook takes d4 always.
Nothing. It's always, like white magically connects all the pieces together. Like queen d2, knight e2. Knight runs away and also guards the rook.
Right? Oh my gosh.
Oh
my gosh.
Incredible.
How did you save your... I mean...
We do have bishop c5 on the board.
Bishop c5 on the board.
And he has to find queen b3.
Which is the only move he will find. He did
and
just
he
play
did it quickly, too.
So looks like now we're going to have an endgame. Black has to trade.
Oof.
That's not that great for black, right?
Okay, that's not what I really wanted to do. Queen b3. I can play a5? Right. Trading on my terms? Does that make any sense?
And after queen b4, you're still going to take with the bishop, right?
Probably, yeah. Well, Alireza, I mean, finding these only moves as Gukesh, he's like, I'm putting on all of this pressure that my opponent keeps finding these only moves. After a5, if we trade, bishop takes, I got 3 pawns, Miro, as black. Do I have the advantage in that question?
Not really, and computer starts to prefer white, to be honest.
Even with the piece, because my pawns are no longer threatening.
The best way, according to the machine, is just to trade on b3, trade the bishops, go a5, and this is something that we know black's never winning.
I forgot my basics. My basics tell me that when my opponent's king is vulnerable, keep the queens on the board. So if I play queen a5 in the current position, keeping the queens on the board.
Knight to f3.
Knight f3.
We have a little update, big update actually. Fabi's game is over and it was drawn.
So both Fabi and Prague will go into the halftime with a +1, and they're trailing Nepo, who is at +2, and Nepo is anxiously watching the very game we are between Alireza and Gukesh. Can Gukesh catch or surpass Nepo? Knight f3, and after I take on e3, I presume you take with the queen?
But the rook also looks okay.
Rook also looks okay. What am I doing with my pawns? b5. I was hoping that I somehow expose...
King is that weak.
It's not.
Yeah. It can always also hide on h2 if needed.
Like you could just take a picture, king g3. Let's pause our analysis and jump over to Toronto as Anastasia caught up with Fabiano.
Against Praggnanandhaa. Were you surprised with his opening choice today?
A little bit, yeah. I don't think he's played the French almost at all. Yeah. Normally he's playing Sicilian or e4, e5. And in this tournament he played every game with e5. So, I knew the line sort of, but he knew it better. Because up to g6 I think he was in his preparation. And I didn't know the subtleties of position. I mean, it's some sort of theory, but I don't know where we kind of go into new territory. Like I knew up to bishop d3 that this position should be quite playable for white, but didn't really know much deeper than that. And after g6, yeah, he's getting the bishop to h6. So I tried to delay castling, because castling the bishop can go to h6 immediately. So I wanted to keep the option like that. Now bishop h6 is met with h4, so this is interesting for white. And but then he plays h5, and yeah, probably I shouldn't play bishop d2. What I did, I mean, I thought I would be slightly better here, but couldn't really see how to pose any problems in this position. It's probably just an equal position. Like his knight is poorly placed, but let's say I play b5, I don't know, rook c3 or rook c8, something like this. He gets the c file, and it's very unpleasant for me, because I can't really, like if he gets a4 and then rook b3, then my pawn on a3 is very weak.
And you cannot play rook c1 because bishop controls the square all the
bishop
time,
is
yes?
incredibly strong on h6, so he always has a c file. The only advantage I have is that the knight is rather poor on b8. It's restricted. Yeah, here I thought I was slightly better, but okay, I see that I'm not even remotely better. Actually, g5 I thought about, but I wanted to play queen d2 here. So
To pin this
king
bishop.
g7, bishop c2. I actually considered this option, and I thought that this was here,
Queen
here.
d3,
Yeah, I just thought that I'd move my knight back, like at e1, and oh, he has tactics with knight. Just blundering. Takes
you
e4
mean
tactics? Yeah.
knight d4?
Yeah, I don't know, but no, I mean like if knight d2.
Yes, if you play knight d2,
this
then
is-
he has this knight d4,
Yeah.
yes, I see.
But knight e1.
So
I
knight
thought
d1.
it's better for black. Yeah, queen g5, knight e7.
I mean, somehow visually, yes, it shows that.
It's funny because I was considering this option, but. And what if I do queen e3? Because now after king g7, I have this move h4. It was my like secondary option.
Yeah.
Because g4, then I goes to g5, so gh4, queen e2.
Queen e2,
Okay,
you provoked it.
Probably an equal position anyway. But yeah, I guess this. I just didn't believe in this g5 because of queen d2, but apparently it was interesting. Yeah, and the rest of the game, I didn't feel like.
There was
I was even
something,
slightly
yes.
better, yeah.
So was it like disappointing for you when you saw the c6 and let's say all the hours of prep were gone?
I mean, it wasn't either. I wasn't sure yet, if it was good or not that he played the French because it's a very sharp fight, and playing it for the first time, maybe he's not so familiar with it. But he seemed to know the opening very well, was very well prepared, and I guess I didn't really get anything significant. So, in hindsight, it wasn't very good for me that he played this line.
Yeah, tomorrow there will be the show. They will show the movie about you winning the candidates in Berlin in 2018. Are you planning to come and let's say remember all those moments?
No, I'm not going to try to go back in time. It's we have a candidates going on, so there's no point thinking about 6 years ago. Of course, it's very good memories for me from that candidate, but. Yeah, this one is more interesting for now.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yes, and like last words, I mean, what do you think about the tournament so far? 7 rounds, we're exactly in the middle. Let's say you have +1. What else you're thinking about?
Well, it's my tournament so far is kind of steady, nothing remarkable. Tournaments of other players is more interesting. So we'll see. I mean, the second half will be very, very tight. I hope that I'll be in the fight for first place, but at some point I need to get wins, of course, that's very important. But I haven't had like huge chances. I mean, I missed a chance against Hikaru in the first round. I had a chance in the second round, and since then I don't think I had like anything significant in any game. So it's kind of unfortunate that like I'm not really getting too many opportunities, but we'll see what the second half brings, and also depends a lot on like Alireza's game now against Gukesh, some piece sacrifice. I don't know what was going on. Very short position, although I had a feeling at some point that he was much worse, and of course he's clearly in very shaky form. So that game is quite important because Gukesh would be in the clear lead if he wins that.
Absolutely, yes. Of course, we are looking forward to the second part of the candidates tournament. Thank you, Fabi. All the best of luck for you. Let's hope you'll get many chances. And we are going back to the studio to Miro, Nazi, and Yasser.
Thank you, Anastasia. Right, you are, Fabi. You're drawing your way out of contention, but Alireza versus Gukesh jump right in, Miro, because with the queens off the board, I'm beginning to think that White might have something to say about this ending.
Right. After those exchanges, the queens, the bishops, well, computer still has it as equal.
Really?
But I can see, here and there lines popping up where it's White who is better.
Right.
And
we
both players, down to, Firouzja's down to seconds.
40
Gukesh,
seconds.
1.5 minutes. It's move 35, so still some moves to be played. Knight
We have a move
D7?
by the way, the last move was rook on d8 to a8, inviting rook takes b7, inviting rook a3. He has played knight d7. Oh, those tricky knights. He's looking at an... But what's a3?
That's one thing. The other thing is rook c3 is a threat, I've realized. Even without the computer, rook c3 is a serious threat.
Rook c3, a2.
Rook c8, yeah?
And this is one of... We have to have this pattern hardwired.
Things can change
Nazi.
so quickly in this game, and Firouzja can take down the leader.
Wow.
Well, 40
That
seconds
would be a
for Gukesh
checkmate.
as well.
The move knight d7. Oh, that's
It's definitely
evil.
scary at the moment. Also, given that Gukesh is down to 30 seconds, all these threats, how do you avoid all of them?
Okay, so rook c3, rook c8, knight b6.
He played king h7.
King h7, blundering knight b6.
Knight b6. Knight b6 is a
Is
rook.
it just winning? There's
That's
Knight-
over.
Well, knight b6, rook d2 check. There is.
Ah, sorry.
But computer says rook f3 is winning for white. So white finally gets to attack the king after exchanging the queens, exchanging the bishop.
And he's played it.
Well, Firouzja
Rook
is a monster.
F3.
1 second.
Wow, rook takes and knight f6.
It's
That
winning
will
for
be
white.
mate.
It's winning for
14
white.
seconds? 14 seconds?
10 seconds
10
for
seconds
Gukesh.
for Gukesh.
They have 3
He's
more
blundered
moves, but
rook f3.
I think game will be over before the time control.
And he's played a3, rook takes f7 on the board, king h8
h8.
on the board,
So what's the checkmate here?
knight f6,
Knight f8.
knight f8.
We have a checkmate on the board.
Knight f8, a2, knight g6, and
Mate,
Firouzja
Firouzja
won the
wins
game.
first game.
what a time to steal a victory. My goodness. India mourns.
It all happened
Wow.
so fast.
I'm in shock. Wow,
2
knight
minutes
g6.
ago, Gukesh was fine. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Nep was definitely happy right now.
Very, very happy, Jan. But Miro, where did it all go so terribly wrong for Gukesh? Because he also had 14 minutes to, I want to say, Firouzja's 2?
Right. So if we are talking when he lost the advantage, I would assume as early as here. As early
Really?
as here. Yeah, because all the nice lines that were in the game that we were looking at after the piece sacrifice, believe it or not, but it seems Black was never seriously better. So he's not giving the not winning the piece back, and there were, like, the moment we've traded the queens and the bishops, there were, of course, ways for Black to pretty much get rid of the e5 pawn at the cost of both both queenside pawns. You never lose this, but yeah, it is what it is. And let me see, rook a8, I believe, was terrible. Yep, rook a8, knight d7. He had to go check. Had to go check according to the machine. King e1, but I'm not picking it up. Computer gives, like, say now, for instance, rook d4 is the only move.
Wow.
How would you tell that it is rook d4 and not something else?
Rook g2.
And say you're very short on time. You take on g2. You say,
Right.
okay, what can happen to me? And then you lose to this same idea.
Checkmate of the back.
The same idea that we had. Yeah.
If I can interrupt you, Miro, because this really, Nazi, this shakes up the standings completely. I mean, this has been an incredibly dramatic 10 minutes, and look what has happened to our leaderboard suddenly.
Yes, Gukesh was in the clear sharing first place coming into this round, and now he's sharing second with 2 other players, Fabi and Prag.
Yes.
While Nepo now becomes a sole leader.
Hikaru also applauding Alireza's effort very much as he trails Jan by a point. And again, in the second half, everybody's going to have a chance against one another. And I do believe that Hikaru and Jan will be playing in round 13. Remember, it was, Hikaru's playing Fabi and Jan and Gukesh all in a row. As we were
Isn't it
talking
14s then? Look, I mean, they've played 7s, and then it has to be 14.
So it would be 14th.
The very last
It will be
round,
round 14th that Hikaru will play.
We still have one game going on.
Wow. Nijat. Yes,
and
exactly.
that's the one. And let me tell you that there have been a lot of moments where Black was winning, and I think there have been a couple of moments where White could have gotten in a better position. So let's just skip it till the position we have on the board. I'm just checking. Yeah, Nijat is on 40 minutes. Vidit, yeah, they've gotten the increment, so no one's in time trouble yet.
Right.
Black is up a pawn currently. quite advanced passed pawn on h3, so you would expect evaluation to be equal, of course. And that's what computer has in pretty much every line. And I was looking at it, and I realized that in a way, the h3 pawn protects the black king.
White king, yes.
A white king. And if anything, I'm a bit worried, like
Knight
as
takes
black,
A4.
like if this pawn is gone at some point and the knight returns back and this pawn starts moving.
Hello.
Okay, everything's equal once again. Like any sane move for black leads to equality according to computer. But I'm yet to find kind of the pattern where black is winning. Because this pawn, as much as attractive as it looks, it's not going any further.
But also what's very curious for me about this position, Nazi, is I'll just bringing it up on my board, is if you look at the position from black's perspective and you say to yourself, okay, it's black, I'm better, I'm a pawn up, I want to bail out with a perpetual check one day. Where's your perpetual check with this crazy pawn structure? Just as Miro is saying, the pawn on h3 serves as a beautiful protection for white's king. And
would be very happy to give that pawn away for free.
Right, to expose white's king. And, I can imagine a draw in this game, but I suddenly feel like white's not the one who's suffering anymore.
Not at all.
Maybe earlier,
White
but
knight
not
can
now.
start picking up queenside pawns.
Exactly. Yeah, just as Miro's saying, you go queen e2, you takes, and then you come back and, let's have some fun with the a-pawn. We're going to jump to Toronto as Anastasia caught up with Firouzja.
You just managed to outplay Gukesh. Congratulations. The game was really, really complicated. Tell us what happened and how did it go for you?
Yeah, I mean, every day I'm playing complicated game, and one time it has to go my way. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, you decided to go for London today.
Yeah.
And
I mean, it's an interesting position we got, and how should I?
Yeah, try to,
Okay. And yeah, I mean, I got completely outplayed here.
You felt that you are worth this moment, yes?
I blundered knight c5, and then it was all downhill, but I got lucky. I have this queen b3, and
he missed it. Yes, did he miss this?
It, yeah.
Okay.
From before, and then when we got to this position, I saw queen b3. Initially, I wanted to take on c5. But after that, yes, it would be losing. Yes. But it's just lucky, yeah.
Yes, and so after that you got this extra piece, but he was still not obliged to lose this position, right?
Yeah, it's I think very difficult position, but I liked my chances here in time scramble because knight is always tricky.
Yeah.
So.
This is for sure.
Yeah, and then here.
What was the final mistake for him?
Yeah, here knight d7. Here already is very difficult for black. So, and he missed the mating net. So.
He missed this mating net because we didn't see the end. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because it's just mate. He got mated.
After that, yes. Wow. So, tell us a little bit. How are you doing? Like after all these days, I mean, struggling. Like, how does it feel? This event?
Yeah, I'm happy. I got a win, but it's a struggle, and I'm trying to fight, but it doesn't work. So, now maybe this win will give me some momentum.
And yes, tomorrow we also have the rest day. What I noticed today that you were wearing the socks from the Rapid and Blitz tournament in St. Louis, right? Can you say that they were lucky socks?
Yeah, it could be, but I had them yesterday also.
Yeah, I got it. Yes, so it's not
I have
always
2 pairs. So.
I see. So maybe you found the lucky one. This is great. Yeah, and what are you going to do tomorrow? We have the rest day.
I will
more chess.
Yeah, I will try to prepare, and if the weather is good, go out of it, but probably it will not be good. So
for sure.
Stay in the room.
Thank you so much, Alireza. Thank you for joining us, and we're going back to the studio to Yasser, Nazi, and Miro.
Thank you, Anastasia. And indeed, that victory really shook up the standings. Once again, Nazi, do the honors. Wow.
We have Nepomniachtchi in clear first now with 4.5 points. And pretty crowded there for the second place. Fabiano, Caruana, Pragg, and Gukesh sharing with 4 points.
Exactly.
And at the moment, it's only Hikaru with 50%, but Vidit is still playing, so we'll see what happens there.
Well, as Ben Underwood will tell us, that our statistician, that the winner of the tournament usually has +2 after 6 rounds of play. So Nepo definitely in pole position. And in the ladies' standings, we have a clear first as well, and a clear second also in the ladies' standing, as we've had a very, very eventful round 7, I want to say, and I'm still, sorry to say, I'm still recovering. I think, I mean, for Gukesh, he's wondering what just happened. I mean, because his world just, I mean, a tornado hit him there.
Honestly, that perhaps is so far the biggest miss of the tournament.
Right.
Because we've seen people kind of turning winning positions into a draw, or vice versa, losing drawish positions, but this is like almost 360 degrees to, or 180, that is, yeah.
Right.
180 degrees, upside down, pretty much.
Victory to a loss.
We are not sure if he was kind of completely winning, but clearly better position, which he, in 10 moves, pretty much lost, yeah.
Right. Wow. And once again, for those of you who are joining us late, Gukesh came into today's round tied for the lead. He appeared to have a nice advantage. And then when Alireza was in deep time trouble and Gukesh had 14 minutes, he ended up being the one who almost lost in time. He'd lost on the position, but a huge turnaround here in the candidates around 7, and wow.
But like Firouzja said in the interview, it took some luck. Firouzja definitely got lucky. He even said in the critical moment where Queen B3 was played,
yes,
he was planning to play Rook C5 and then resign.
Exactly.
The lost position.
He just noticed that this crucial moment there as Queen B3, we get to see Firouzja at work here. It was this critical moment when, I think it was somewhere around here, that 2 minutes thereabouts for Alireza White, 14 or less for Gukesh, but he has 3 pawns for the piece. He's just played Bishop C5. It would appear that Black is the one dictating the action, but it's this remarkable move. Queen B3, Queen takes B3, Knight takes B3, Bishop takes B3, Rook takes. And right here, I would not suspect, not for a moment, that Black is in danger of losing this position. Something like B6, and you've got 3 pawns for a piece. I don't know, I wouldn't say I'm necessarily winning, but I would expect maybe a draw.
Maybe it was tough to switch psychologically, going from a position where you were attacking, White's king was weak, he had queens on the board, and all of a sudden queens come off and now you have to defend.
Right.
You're technically down a piece.
Right.
So, and also fell into time trouble at this particular moment.
Yeah, but for me, this was the moment for really a star move right here. And again, if you've got this hardwired checkmating patterns, the move Knight D7, oh, that's just so evil. It threatens Knight B6, but it really sets a very cunning trap. If you play A3, check this out. Rook takes A3, Rook takes A3, and this is a checkmate that we all know and love. Knight on G6 and a Rook coming to H8, and that's what Alireza had set up with the move Knight D7.
We have to give props to Alireza because he played all this with less than 1 minute on the clock. He found all the patterns and won the game with less than a minute. Exactly.
King H7, that turned out to be a mistake, and not for reasons that you might be thinking, Knight B6, for example, but it was actually another pretty hidden gem, Rook F3. Yeah. And then suddenly, here it comes, whoop, and a checkmate. The Knight landed on G6, the Rook landed on G7, and Miro, wow, like you said, complete turnaround, a 360, if you will, for snatching a defeat from the jaws of victory.
Right, so final thoughts, Yvonne.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the game that's still on. I checked it quite a bit, and it seems it's going to end in a draw. which marks, well, quite a lot. It's first half of the tournament, right?
Yes.
And all the, all the stats been given and all the predictions been given, but still it feels unreal, to be honest, that Jan's gonna just win 3 in a row. So that's the biggest conclusion, not from today's round, which, by the way, was an entertaining round, but overall, like, to see him leading again after the first half of the tournament, as he's done already twice, that's a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, he's got the confidence to do it. He's won 2 of them, but here are our standings after 7 rounds of play in the open section with 1 game remaining.
Right, so we have Jan Nepomniachtchi in clear first, sharing second Fabiano, Caruana, Pragg, and Gukesh, just half point behind Jan.
Right.
And Hikaru at 50%, but Vidit might also be at 50 after this round.
Exactly, either with a draw. And for the ladies' standings, again, much more separation.
Indeed, Zhongyi in the clear first with 5 points, half point behind Goryachkina, and then 2 players half point behind Goryachkina, Ding with a big victory today, and Kateryna Lagno sharing 3rd place.
We have reached the halfway point in our coverage of the candidates. Tomorrow is a free day. Do not join us for tomorrow, but the weekend. We'll say hello. Join us for round 8. Tell your friends where you're hanging out. And in the meanwhile, best of good nights.
Good night. See you in 2 days.
Wow, what a turnaround.
This has been a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club. Any reproduction or distribution of this content without the express written consent of the St. Louis Chess Club is prohibited.